I wish this video was going to be about my finished kitchen, because actually by now I should have finished it, because I've been working on this kitchen for over a year now. Well, I've had a big break because I focused on my online shop and left all the DIY, put it aside. But now I really, it's during lockdown, there's no way I'm going to be able to get anybody to come and do things for me, and I quite like the idea of doing it myself, building the kitchen myself. It's going to be a freestanding kitchen, but here it's going to be fitted, and I had put it off until I could afford to buy nice cupboards, or I could pay for somebody to come and build something here for me. That's not going to happen because I don't have enough money, but also we're in lockdown and it's just not going to be possible to get people to come around. So I'm going to try to build something myself, and I've put it off and put it off because I'm scared of doing it. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do it. It's a big thing, it's a big area, and it's going to involve gluing these blocks, which I've had for quite a while, and forming shelving areas here, boxing in this oven which somebody gave me. It's a double built-in oven, but I wanted a double oven. I wanted lots of space if I'm cooking a chicken and I want to do some baking at the same time. Everyone said you can't have a double oven for fitted built-in oven on the floor, but it stands on the floor and the door opens okay, it doesn't bang on the floor, and I think I'm capable of reaching down and pulling something out of there. So for me, it's going to be okay. But it needs a housing, and I'm going to make that out of the blocks. I might face the blocks with leftover tiles from the floor. I'm going to wait until it's made and I'll see what it looks like. I've also been given 2 huge pieces of oak worktop that I'm going to use to make the middle shelving, and I've already got my worktop. It's an oak worktop. I've had it for quite a long time, and I have actually already cut it out and oiled it, and it's almost ready, and then I'll have the hop hole to cut out at the top. I've cut it all out with a jigsaw, with a really rubbish jigsaw blade, because I went to the shop to get a better blade and it was actually worse than the one I had before. So I've used a really rubbish blade, and it took a long time, but I did manage it. I've rounded off the edge of the worktop and cut a round part here, cut the corner off completely, and then rounded all of the exposed edge, not with a router, but by hand using an old wood file and sandpaper, and it's worked out really well, so you do not need a router. Anyway, I did make some recordings of me doing that, and took some photographs of the worktop, so I'll make a separate video of the worktop for you to see how I did it. I'll just show you a quick shot of the worktop through in the other room, so you know what's going to go on there, and we will now show you all of the steps that we're going to take for building the kitchen base units down here. Hopefully it will go okay. So this is the oak worktop that I've had for quite a long time. It was sitting here for about 10 months, and it's all cut out and rounded off on this edge by hand. It's quite a complicated cut out with a chimney breast and 2 alcoves. But I managed it all on my own with my jigsaw, and it does fit. So that's going to be the worktop. I've been without a kitchen for 1.5 years now. We've had a kitchenette in our attic and no water in the attic, so we've been running up and down the stairs filling up bottles of water, and we've done all of the washing up in the bath for the last 1.5 years. We haven't even had a washing machine, so we've done all of our washing up in a bucket in the bath. So I can't wait for this kitchen to be finished. Really hope that I make a good job of these base units, because it's this that's been holding me up the fear of getting it done, the fear of making a mess of it. Well, it was the floor, but I did that. I managed to pluck up the courage to do that. I've plucked up the courage to get on with it. I really, really hope it's going to work out. Right, so I've put the oven in the position I want it to be. First of all, I put my worktop on. I've got these batons around the back, but I might end up removing those once I've got walls built for the worktop to sit on. But I've put the worktop in position, and I've marked a pencil line on the floor where the front of the worktop comes to, using my very tall straight that has a spirit level in it. So I've marked dots all the way down where the worktop comes, and I've drawn a line. That's the edge of the worktop. But I want the walls to be a couple of centimetres in from there. So I've positioned this oven in the middle of the chimney breast and made sure that that gap is the same as that gap. There's a 3 or 4 centimetre gap at the back for the hot air to come up, and I want to leave a centimetre. I think it's half a centimetre is the minimum, but that means that it's going to be very tight and it has to be exact. So we're going to have a 1 centimetre gap either side, where the wall's going to come 1 centimetre away from the oven. And I thought, how can I fit these blocks against the oven but leaving a 1 centimetre gap in an accurate way? So we found this wood hanging around. It's 12 millimetres, and I'm going to somehow attach it to the side of the oven like this, and that will ensure that the blocks are 1 centimetre away, that the wall that I'm going to build is a centimetre away. So I put the wood on, and this is going to be leave a 12 millimetre gap between the block work wall that I'm going to make and the oven. And that's bigger than it needs to be, but I can either leave it like that because it's still going to come behind here, or it will leave me a little bit of room to put a plaster skim on, or maybe tile it. Well, probably not tile it, a plaster skim if need be, but otherwise I'm happy with it being a bigger gap, because the gap at the back isn't that big, so that will help with the ventilation. What I'm going to do is put some adhesive either on the floor or on the bottom of the block, and put one in and put one in next to it with some up the side and build it up. These fixed already, and it's quite solid already. It won't be completely structurally sound until I put something here and something at the back to attach it to the wall. But then when the shelf is in and it's all tiled over or whatever I'm going to do to face it, it'll be strong enough, hopefully. And I'm going to put those two in a minute, and eventually I'm going to have a shelf here made of oak, just one kind of L-shaped shelf. We're going to have to raise the floor somehow, maybe using two of these blocks, one on top of the other, and then put oak on top or tile on top. I'm going to have this, probably use this to make a skirting to go along the front. And here, this is going to be where the worktop is curved round. It's nice when you walk in a room that if you've got curved edges, because you're less likely to bang into them. And there'll be a shelf here, and that will mean that there's a little gap here because there isn't enough space to have three go back, so I'm having to stop this little section short, which will mean that there's a gap here. But that's fine, I can use that to store jam or champagne or something like that. Trying to keep it as simple as possible so I don't have to cut the blocks, and to maximise the space, and trying to think how I'm actually going to be using these cupboards to make sure that it's going to be easy to use. I want this kitchen to be easy to use. So I'm quite happy with that, so I'm going to get started. I've finished putting these two parts up now. This one's completely dry because I did that yesterday. These will need a day to dry. I'm going to remove the oven now and see how stable that wall is, and see if I can make it stronger by connecting it to the wall at the back. It actually feels really strong. I don't want to really try to see how strong it is because I don't want it to lose its stickiness and have to take it apart and do it again because it's probably not completely dry. But it feels really, really strong. So I'm sure that if I put something at the back of it and once I've got the shelves in and the base in, it's going to be really strong. I mean, how strong are normal board kitchen cupboards anyway, so I'm sure it's going to be stronger than those. I've finished the walls and they are nice and strong. So now I need to sort out the shelving. I'm going to have 2 shelves, a low one and one about there, about 2/3 of the way up. I want this to be really strong because I'm probably going to be putting earthenware pots onto here, earthenware pots of flour, rice, that kind of thing. And I bought these to raise the floor up. I want to raise the floor up because it would be too low on the floor, and if I just left it, the bottom shelf as the floor, it would get dirty, a lot dirtier. So I've bought these paving blocks, driveway blocks. They're very cheap. They're cheaper than normal. They're about half the price of normal brick. I think they were 36 pence each from B&Q. So I'm going to create a platform using them. I'll probably break some to go across here to fill this line in, because I'm going to use the floor tiles, the porcelain floor tiles I've got left over. They're 30 centimetres wide, so I'm going to measure where my grout line will be to make sure that I've got a solid brick block underneath, otherwise my grout will fall through. And when I've finished this, I will either just glue it in with the adhesive, with the gun adhesive, or I will use tile adhesive. I've got some Mapai tile adhesive, and just put a few blobs down to stick them down. And I've put them so that they're flush with the front of this, because eventually I will make a skirting to go all the way across the front and here as well, and curve it around there somehow. And that will make it a lot easier to clean. It will be a lot cleaner if you're just going straight past with a mop, rather than have this recessed a little bit. I was going to recess it a little bit, but then I thought it's not going to be as clean. So that's it. The next stage is gluing them down. I've done the platform there, that's all glued down with tile adhesive, and now I've got to do here, and I've rounded off the corner of my worktop, and I want to do the same on the base at the bottom, and the same for the shelf. So I've drawn around my worktop so that I know the shape of the corner of the curve, and I've marked it out on here. That's where it has to, this and the bricks have to end, so that it leaves enough space for the tile, which I will have to do in small pieces. The skirting, I have to do it in small pieces to form a rounded edge. I've roughly created a curve back, and it's all glued down, and now I have to make the curve here smooth, ready for tiling at the front. finished all the block work, and now I have to do the backs of these here, and here, and here, and over here. I'm going to do those with leftover floor tiles if I've got enough. And then after I've done that, I've got to do the front, the skirting along here, and I'll use the floor tile. When I've finished those, then I have to put floor tile on top of here. When I've finished that, I've got to tile up here. And when I've finished that, I have to come up here with something, which I'm not sure what I'm going to do. This solid piece of oak is going to raise the walls up to the right height for the worktop. The worktop, I'm going to cut it off here. It's not going to go above the oven because you need to have a gap above the oven to let the hot air out. The hot air out the back. So Diddy comes up the back and comes up here. So I'll cut it off here, and I'm going to use tannelised wood along here to the back and create a support for the worktop. I did have baton at the back, but it wasn't perfect, and so I don't need it now because I've got these solid walls. So I've taken that off, and so yeah, so the worktop's going to sit on top of that. It's going to be about 2.5 centimetres into the room. And then when I've done all that, I'm going to put the shelves in. So still a long way to go, but it's looking good. Everything's gone okay so far. So far so good. I've now got to fit skirting all along using this tile, some leftover tiles that I've got. I'm going to cut them the same height as the bricks, the blocks. They are 10 centimetres high, and it's 117 long, and my tiles are only 60 centimetres, so I have to do two. I was thinking about maybe doing one for there and one for there, and having whatever I put on there come down to there, but this is really strong. It's porcelain, and I think it's better to have that go up here, because I might put mosaic on here and then it would be vulnerable, it would probably get knocked off quite quickly. So I've got to go all along, and I'm just going to do 60 centimetres there, and then the rest there, 57 I think it is. And then there'll be a line there, but I don't think anybody's going to notice. So, next job. hope you can see me. Sorry for my appearance. I have gone grey overnight. No, this is from the tile cutter. I'm about to put on the skirting, the bottom cutter out ready. And I'm just going to put a little bit of this primer onto here to make sure that the tiles stick well. So I just mixed it with some water. So I'm going to put them on with a brush, have a break, wait for it to dry, and then put my skirtings in. Right, on to the last bit now, which is the most difficult bit. I've got to cut a curve. I'm going to do it with an angle grinder. I'm not sure how it's going to turn out. I've never cut a curve with an angle grinder before, but there we go. If it doesn't work, I'll cover this with something else. Right, so I've got the width right, and I need to know where to cut, but I want to do it from the top, because I think maybe I'll get a cleaner cut on the top with using an angle grinder than cutting on the bottom, and you know, there's like a little chip on the top if I go from the bottom up. So vinyl and cut the width and put it into position, and just drew underneath with a pencil, and I've cut it out. And now I'm going to transfer that onto here. I know the length, I've marked the length there. That's where it's going to start. Draw it out and give it a go. cut out all of the tiles for the bottoms, for the bases, and now I need to fix them down with Mapai tile adhesive. Hello. 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 Here. Here we go. Oh, hello. Oh, watch yourself. I have finished the base now, that's all complete, and I've grouted the tiles. I have primed these blocks and the walls at the back there, and now I've got to decide what I'm going to do with them. I think I'm going to put these tiles on because I managed to buy some very, very cheap from Walls and Floors. They used to have a clearance section, and I managed to pick these up for very little. They're kind of pale green. So I'm going to put those on the sides here. I'm not too sure about here, maybe I'll just paint. I've got a lot of these, so see how I get on. got to do these, this tile up here. It's not a full tile, and I needed to know at what height I needed to cut them at. So what I did was, I've decided this is a good strong support for the worktop, and it's the right height. So I'm going to use this as my guide. They're the same all the way across, apart from one, which is a little bit higher, and I'll cut it down with my angle grinder. So I want everything to end up that height or just below. So I just put my I cut this. I worked out what I thought it would be. 7 centimetres. Cut a tile out and put it there. And with the spirit level, just went over like that and made sure that it was more or less in the middle. I can always make a slight adjustment by not using these. I could go a little bit down. So I have to cut out 7 centimetre tiles all the way along here, and there, and there, and there, and there, and there, and there, and there. I've done most of the tiling now, and I just need to finish off the awkward bits. And I've done all the cutting out already for all of the last little bits. All the tiling is now done. I do need to grout it, but before I do that, I want to make sure all of these heights are okay. I've decided that the worktop is going to sit on some wood that I will put down here. It should be slightly higher than the tiles, so I need to make sure that the tiles are going to be the right height. And I've got some nice oak that's going to come across here, going to there, and the same on the other side of the oven. That's going to add a bit of strength, and it'll also give me something to hang a curtain from, because I definitely want to have a curtain here. Not sure about here, possibly not, but it will look better if it went all the way across anyway. So I'm going to cut out the wood, and then I'll know where I need to cut that tile down, these tiles down at the front, and that tile down there, so that it can sit on the blocks. I've got all the wood here. All of these bits of wood are on the floor. They will go up here. They're all cut out, ready to go up there. I used oak in the end, the same as the wood that's going to go across the front here, because then I've got exactly the same height, and they will react in the same way over time, so they'll expand and contract in the same way. And they'll form a really nice flat surface. I'm going to be grouting now, and to make sure that grout doesn't go through there and stick to the wood, and make sure that a thin gap remains on either side of the oak to allow it to expand and contract without warping or bowing. I've put little bits of cardboard either side of the oak, so now I can grout and not worry at all. I Only took a minute. I'm using a dry cloth because I think if you use a wet cloth you just make it smear all over the tiles. So I'm just going to start dusting. I think if you use a wet cloth or sponge, it also wipes a lot of it out from the grout lines. And this is just taking a tiny little bit at a time. It seems to compact it as well and smooth it down. Squashes it in rather than washes it out. If you find that one needs some more in, you just put your finger in your bucket and put a little bit more on. Smooth it over and leave it for a few minutes and then dust it up again. And just keep going until you get the look that you want. A little bit missing there. I'll get a little bit from my bucket. Put it in there. So I've finished all of the grouting, and now I have to think about the shelves. There's going to be one shelf in each opening. I think one there, I may do two, I'll see. I probably haven't got enough for two. So anyway, I did pick up some solid hardwood, I'm not too sure what it is, from the tip one day. I saw somebody just about to throw 2 sheets of solid wood. So I ran up to him and asked him if I could have it. So that's going to save me some money, and it's good recycling. And this is one of them, and this one is the other. This one's in a bit of a mess, so I have to remove all of this glue before I can cut out the shelves. If your hole is too big in your wood, put a plug in. Keep it nice and solid. Stop it from dropping down. If I go to there and leave a bit there, I'm going to come from here to go to there, so it's held there, and if I go to there, yeah, if I leave a bit there and I leave a bit there, and we'll do all the rest, then you can get under it, okay? Yes. Just to run down all the costs of making this base unit. The worktop was the most expensive thing. That was about £100. I think that was from Worktops Express. It's solid oak and it's looking lovely. It's had 2 coats of linseed oil. It's looking really nice. I'm really happy with it. Apart from it bows a lot. If you buy it and you don't use it straight away, make sure you keep it on a flat floor. If you're not going to keep it for too long, keep it on a flat floor. If you're going to keep it for a bit longer, you'll have to put it onto wooden batons, otherwise it could go mouldy. But make sure you keep it flat, and bear in mind that before it comes to fitting it, if you've been storing it for a while, it's probably cupped or bowed. So check it. Don't fit it when it's bowed, because if it bows, put it on your flat floor in the room that you're going to be installing it, and put weights on with batons to spread the weight. Or if it's really bowed like that, then focus the weight in the middle, and honestly it will flatten. It might take a few weeks, but it will go down. Anyway, so I was supposed to be talking about costs. So the worktop was the most expensive. This was free. I'm not too sure what wood it is. Maybe it's beech. It's solid hardwood anyway, and that was free because I found it. Somebody was just about to throw it into the tip, so I ran up and grabbed it. So that saved me quite a lot of money. These aerated blocks, they were, for the amount of what I used, probably about £60, I think. They're okay. They're lightweight to use, but they are brittle. So maybe I should have used bricks. But then that would have been a lot of weight in one area of the kitchen. So I'm happy with them, but bear in mind they break easily, so you can't use them on their own. They have to be strengthened with tiles, faced with tiles to strengthen them. These ceramic tiles, I use a lot of those. I got them cheap from Walls and Floors online in their clearance section. I don't know if they still do a clearance section, but I paid very little for those, and I got about 15 or 20 boxes of them. So the cost of those was probably about £10. The tile, adhesive and grout, I used Mapai. So I used, I think, 1 bag of adhesive, 1 bag of grout. So it's about £30 or £40. What else? Oh, I used leftover porcelain tiles for the base. Next to nothing. It only cost me about £10 a metre from Walls and Floors again in their clearance section. They are porcelain and really strong. So for the amount I used here, it's probably £20, and they were left over anyway. Underneath, I used quite a lot of paving blocks. I think I probably bought about £30 worth. So if I do a quick tally, with the linseed oil again, but the linseed, I got off a Facebook car boot sale group. Somebody was selling off a great big load of it, £5, so that's hardly cost me anything. Adhesives and silicones, probably about £20 worth. So 100, 120, 160. It's about, if I throw in the hob and the free oven, I've got the oven free, and the hob I got, it was a Smeg oven, Smeg half, which is, I think it's going on for about £1,000 hob I got for £100. I mean, all in, it's probably, with the hinges as well, gosh, let me think, about £300, around £300 for this 3 metre run. So it took a long time, and it wasn't easy, and there's a big risk of it all going horribly wrong, wasting all my money, but I'm so happy that I went for this option. That's all for now then for the basement units. Don't forget to subscribe because I will be making more videos, doing my kitchen myself on a budget, and often using vintage furniture, recycled things, and also I've got more videos because I've got a whole house and garden to do. Anyway.